Well, good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada. My name is Bob Alto, and I am your worship associate. I go by the pronouns he, him, his. Just like a flower blooms, this is a place where you can bloom. You can enjoy a community where your passions, justice, self, and spiritual growth abide. And it matters not what your age, your gender, your sexual orientation, your socioeconomic status or immigration status or ethnicity. Your story finds a place, a connection among us. As a newcomer or visitor, you're especially invited to fill out the newcomer form as indicated on the screen, or you can access directions in the chat function. You'll remain muted during the service, but you can share your joys, your concerns, and cares during prayer and meditation in the chat box. The gallery view is always available. At the end of our service, you are invited to friendly conversation during our small group interactive coffee time, or you may elect to see the information about our annual meeting. Thanks for joining us.
Today we gather to celebrate our annual flower communion ceremony. And in so doing, we celebrate beauty and we celebrate community. May we have eyes to see the beauty that we ourselves bring and the beauty of each other. Kristen Famula will light our chalice for us this morning, and you're invited to access the chalice that you have nearby as we light our chalices together.
Come into this circle of community. Come into this sacred space. Be not tentative. Bring your whole self. Bring the joy that makes your heart sing. Bring your kindness and your compassion. Bring also your sorrow, your pain. Bring your brokenness and your disappointments. Spirit of love and mystery, help us to recognize the spark of the divine that resides within each of us. May we know the joy of wholeness. May we know the joy of being together.
please enjoy this next piece about the fascinating history of flower communion.
Come with me as we travel to Prague, Czechoslovakia, in Europe, the year 1923. There was a Unitarian church. Now, the building did not look at all like our church. In fact, it did not look like a church at all. It did not have a tall steeple reaching toward the sky like some churches do. It did not have massive doors carved of wood or windows of stained glass. It did not have a chalice, a piano, or flowers. The church had walls, a ceiling, a floor, a door, a few windows, and some hard wooden chairs. But thankfully, the church had people who came every Sunday, and they were the most important part of the church, because without people, any church is just a building, no matter how tall its steeple. The people of Prague had been through hard times. They had just recently been through 4 years of war. Many people in Prague had been divided about the war. Many had lost loved ones or had been hungry or scared, and even though the war had ended, many bad feelings still remained. The church also had a minister. His name was Norbert Čapek. Reverend Čapek had been the minister of this church for 2 years. Every Sunday he spoke to the people and they listened, sitting quietly on those hard wooden chairs. When he finished speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves, and then they went home. And that was all. No music, no candles, no food. Now, Reverend Čapek, he was a thinker, and he wondered sometimes if there might be something, perhaps just a little something more spiritual. He wrote some songs and the people sang them, and it helped, but something was still missing. The church went on as before. One spring morning, near the end of May, as Reverend Čapek was out for a walk, he noticed the birds singing and the flowers blooming, and felt the sunshine on his face. How beautiful the world is! And then an idea came to him. The next Sunday, he asked all the people of the church to bring a flower or a budding branch to church the next week. Each person was to bring one. What kind? They asked. What color? What size? You choose, he said. Each of you, choose what you like. And so, the next Sunday, which felt like the first day of summer, the people came with flowers of all different colors and sizes and kinds. There were yellow and white daisies and red roses, blue asters, dark-eyed pansies, grape hyacinth, pink and purple, orange and gold, all the colors of the rainbow and more. Children helped arrange them and bring them forward to the front of the church. Flowers filled all the vases, and beauty filled their hearts. The church wasn't so plain anymore. They had created beauty together. Reverend Čapek spoke to the people, and they listened, sitting quiet and still in those hard wooden chairs. Those flowers are like us, he said, different colors, different shapes, and different sizes, each needing different kinds of care, but each beautiful, important, and special in its own way. He said a blessing of the flowers, which called for everyone in the room to see one another as family, despite differences, and to let the spirit of love unite them and help them live more joyfully. He invited each person to take a flower home with them when they left, a different flower than what they had brought. And when the service ended that day, the people turned and talked a little bit more among themselves. And maybe there was some laughter. And then they each chose a flower from the vases before they left and took it home as a gift from their church family. And each year at the start of summer, they did this again.
This is the time in our service where we have the opportunity to share our bounty with each other. Your generosity, big or small, makes a difference. Since we're not physically together to pass the basket, we can do so virtually by texting 73256, putting UUFNN in the message box and hit send, then follow the instructions to provide your offering. You can also mail a check to the office at 780 Del Monte Lane, Reno 89511. The most convenient way to donate is to sign up for automatic giving. Contact the office and Carol will send you an automatic draft authorization form. Our Share the Plate recipient this month is Lead with Horses, which is a program for youth and children who face challenges. And it is through the interaction of being with horses and riding them, etc., that positive change can be brought about emotionally, physically, or intellectually. In these times of transition, certainly anxiety and challenges face our UU spiritual community, but we've been kept alive and thriving through the gifts of service and support, from phone calls to meals to active outreach through our UU board, the Borderlands Justice Team, the Verdi Posse, etc. Love and compassion have been expressed in so many ways. Now, let the offering begin. Will you please join with me in the dedication of the offering to the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings.
We know it in the mountain, reaching up to the sky. We know it in the ocean, swimming with life. We know it in the forest, rooted deep, growing high. We know it in the buzzing of the honeybee. But do we know it in the mystery of you and me? It's who we are, long before we're given names. Who we are, dust and dirt and human frames. Who we are, just a spark of nature's flames. We don't live on the earth after all. We are living earth. crashing waves of the rising seas. We know it in the fading of the birds' melodies. We know it in the bone dry ridge where the river used to be. But do we know it in the emptiness within you and me? It's who we are, long before we're given names. Who we are, dust and dirt in human frames. Who we are, just a spark of nature's flames. We don't live on the earth after all. We are living earth. If we really knew who we belong to, what are the loads we wouldn't have to hold on to? If we really knew who we belong to, what would our hearts feel called to do? If we knew this truth, well, we might just break through to a deeper belonging as siblings in nature's womb. It's who we are, long before we're given names. Who we are, dust and dirt in human frames. Who we are, just a spark of nature's flames. We don't live on the earth after all. We are living earth.
Today we honor Flower Communion. This annual tradition first offered in June 1923 to a congregation of Unitarians in Czechoslovakia who were looking for religious freedom in a time when trying to believe something different than what everyone else believed in was brave and a little scary. The flower ceremony helped all those people see themselves as unique individuals and also as integral pieces of the community. And as Reverend Čapek himself explained, this ritual shows our willingness to walk together in our search for truth, disregarding all that might divide us. And even though we won't intermingle our flowers today in the same way we would in person, we can still imagine the power of having so many individual pieces coming together to make one whole. Reverend Čapek's wife, Maya, said, "The exchange of the flowers means that I shall walk without reservation with anyone, regardless of social status or former religious affiliation, as long as they are ready and willing to go along in search of truth and service." I hope you were able to bring a flower with you today. If you don't have one, I invite you to look outside at nature or close your eyes and imagine a flower you have seen before. In a moment, we will engage in the flower communion ritual, where some of us will place a variety of colorful flowers in vases, symbolizing each and every one of us coming together in community. But first, I want to honor the flowers we each have brought. The flower I have with me this morning is a beautiful purple iris. It has delicate purple petals. It is purple and green and white and speckled in some places. The petals are soft and velvety. Pollen has broken off from the center of the flower and it has smudged the petals in different places. The leaves are long and dark and green, and you can see the places where many of the leaves have fallen off, leaving a harder whitish tan place on the stem. I invite you to bring your flower close, using your senses to imagine all of that flower, to experience every bit of it. What do you notice about your flower that you didn't see at first? Each flower has special details that you might not notice at first glance, just as each of us are more than what we sometimes show on the surface. Sometimes when we come together in community, we bring just those pieces of ourselves that feel safe to share, or those pieces that we think others want to see. We might not let on that we have pollen smudges or bent petals, or we might hide our purposes and dreams, just letting people see the pretty flower. And sometimes when we come together in community, we see only the beautiful flowers, but we don't invite the other flowers to tell us about their broken leaves or the purpose of their stems. As our chalice lighting this morning said, in this sacred space, you are invited to bring your whole self, the joy that makes your heart sing, your kindness and your compassion, your sorrow, your pain, your brokenness, and your disappointments, all of it. In many African cultures, they celebrate the idea of Ubuntu. In essence, this means I am because you are. I am the person I am because of the person you are. And I wouldn't be who I am if you weren't the person you are. This community is like that. We are each individual pieces connected to one another. And each of us are who we are because of who others are in this community. Today, you are invited to bring all of who you are to this community, because I am because you are, not just some of who you are. I am, and we all are, because of all of who you are. As members of our community engage in our flower communion, you are invited to hold your flower close, thinking about all of the elements of you that you bring to this place, all of the ways that we are shaped in this community because of all of who you are.
And so we bless these flowers that are part of our ceremony today. The ones that you have with you and the ones that we just saw arranged representing our community. They represent us bringing all of who we are. They represent the love that is deep inside us, which sometimes might be hidden. The flowers' lives are relatively short, but new flowers replace the flowers that die, just as new love can come into our hearts. We sometimes recognize that the buds of flowers represent babies who have joined us. Babies remind us of the cycle of life and bring hope. These flowers are beautiful, but they are not perfect. They are flawed, but we see and admire their beauty, and we are in awe of their beauty. And so we bless our community and these flowers. May their beauty remind us of our beauty. May their flaws remind us to bring all of who we are. May we recognize the beauty in ourselves and in each other, just as we recognize our love for each other. May their beauty live on in us.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know, 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 I know. I know, 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 I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul will unfurl my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. Unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. Unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open, 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 fear will open. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Indeed, I know this rose will open. We gather our hearts and our minds and our spirits together in this time of community prayer and meditation. We gather our joys and concerns, our worries, our celebrations. We bring all of who we are. And for these few moments, we are one, even as we are together in this mysterious electronic space. We remember our beloved Roland today, who passed away last Sunday, and we hold Judy in our arms of love, in our care, in our concern. We celebrate today with Lindsay Lamb, who graduated from UNR yesterday with a degree in communications, and we will celebrate her in community next Sunday. You're invited to bring whatever joys and concerns, whatever fears, whatever hopes, whatever dreams, whatever energy of love you would like to send out to those who need it. Those who are feeling alone or depressed, those who are continuing to experience ramifications of COVID, those who are in despair because of the changes in our world. And you're invited to record all of those concerns and celebrations in the chat box as we share these moments together. Bill, we're going to ask you to unmute your microphone. Thank you. There is mystery and there is awe in the ways that we are community, even connected in this way. Our community is not our building. Our community is each of us. Our community is the ways that we are connected. The dreams that we have for the betterment of our world. And so we gather all of our concerns, our celebrations, our prayers, our meditations, and we hold them together in the heart of love. And we send our love and our energy out to those who need a special lift today, who need a hand to hold, who are feeling alone, who are struggling, who face uncertainty, who are worried, who are stressed. We send our love out to each and every one of those persons that we know of. And we offer in this space our gesture to one another, one hand on the heart, one hand extended forward, with our energy facing outward to the community. And in this way, we say to one another, we are all connected. We hear you, we see you. When we know that in this space, we are one. May no one be alone. Blessed be, and amen. much for joining us for today's service. We have just a few announcements as we prepare to close our service, beginning with Kristen.
I just wanted to remind you all that our second Building a Culture of Anti-Racism workshop is coming up this coming Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. And if you missed the first one, it's okay. We still want you to join, and we really hope that a large percentage of you will. Many of you have been asking for resources and skills and tools for working to confront systemic racism within our congregation, including things like what to do about microaggressions. All of that is stuff that we hope that you will find useful in our workshops on Wednesday. So please join us, even if you haven't for the first one. Sign up in the e-announce or send me an email if you need a direct link. And we really hope that we'll see you on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m.
And Terry has an announcement regarding our upcoming vaccination. That will be our next in-person event here on campus.
This is, we hope, excuse me, obviously I haven't been talking today. This is, we sincerely hope, the only year in which you will have the unique opportunity to attend a vaccine. What? Yes, a hybrid pandemic / non-pandemic / fundraiser, like you've never seen before and hope you'll never see again. When? Sunday, June 6th, from 3:30 to 5:30, under the trees outside our education building, with lots of room for kids and grown-ups to run around. We don't have to worry about bad weather because we got that out of the way yesterday. Since pandemic protocols seem to change at lightning speed, we ask that you come masked and be prepared to social distance. The entire vaccination will start on Thursday, June 3rd, with email bidding on many wonderful social events and services that you, the congregation, are donating. The deadline for these donations is May 23rd. That's next Sunday. So we put them all in our, so we can put them all in our catalog and get the catalog out to you. So now is the time to go to auction@uufnn.org and let us know what you want to donate. We're looking for fun events you can host between now and October, and for services that you can offer, like pet sitting. You can also look at earlier emails we have sent you, which include a link to the donation form, and we will send you a form again later this week. We are also looking for homemade baked goods. These are for our cakewalk. A cakewalk is a fun game where the winner actually takes the cake, and our bake sale. Again, contact auction@uufnn.org and let us know what you can donate. Pies and cookies would be great too. You will get more details as the vaccination auction approaches. Remember, this is a rare opportunity and we look forward to seeing you all at the fellowship in 3 weeks. Thank you.
I continue to be very excited that since we have been meeting like this for over a year, we have some new folks who have joined us who have never been to our building. And so I would ask you to please share this worship link generously with your friends and family and to anyone who might benefit from this time of connection on Sunday mornings. I wanted to mention again something that I mentioned to you last week during our worship service. And that is that as we begin to think about what it might look like to return to in-person worship in our building, there are many processes that need to be had, many decisions to be made. There is equipment to be purchased, cameras, training to run those cameras. And actually you can help by stepping up now to volunteer for some of these things, especially the new technical aspects that we'll be engaging in. And so over the summer, we'll have outdoor in-person events every couple of weeks so that we can gather as we plan for that time. I'll be taking some needed time off this summer, and we'll be working on all of those things and having those things in process as we prepare for a time when we can come back together. We don't have a date for that yet. We have some hopes, but we are working towards that in many in many ways and in many arenas, hoping for a time that that can happen. I wanted to say a thank you to everyone who has completed the survey that the board of directors sent out so that we can understand how you are feeling about the possibility of coming back together at some point. I've been looking at some of the results of the survey. The deadline is tomorrow. If you haven't done it yet, please go ahead and do that because we would like every voice to be heard. The number one concern that has been raised in that survey are the health risks of others, especially the most vulnerable. Followed by the number two concern was the safety of our children and our nursery. This is a beautiful expression of our values and of who we are, because there are those among us who, for whatever reason, have yet to be vaccinated, will not be vaccinated because of health reasons, and still feel very vulnerable, even with the vaccinations in place. And so there are those who are feel very unsafe going to places where people are not masked. So as we think about coming back together, we will want to make sure that we keep in mind our values of inclusivity and of taking care of those most vulnerable among us, because we want to always live our UU values and our identity of inclusivity to guide us going forward. Today, immediately following our service, we'll have an informational forum to answer any questions about anything that is coming up in next week's annual congregational meeting, which will take place right after our worship on Zoom. So you can stay online today in the main room. And if you don't want to participate in that forum, but you want to go join a small group in coffee hour, you'll simply accept the invitation to a small group. If you prefer to stay in the main room for the informational forum, simply do not accept the invitation to a small group. I want to thank you for hearing the announcement about needing volunteers for Posse. Many of you stepped up, and that is a great thing. If you can help out the Posse by volunteering or by bringing the items that are needed during the week that can be carried out each Wednesday evening as we feed our hungry neighbors, that is a great, great help. Once again, thank you so much for being here in this space today. Stay on for coffee hour or for the informational forum, and let's join together in our closing song, We Shall Be Known.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we cry. It is time we lead ourselves into the way. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love.
Beloveds, would you form our symbol of connection in your windows? Like the flowers, with their beauty and their flaws and their imperfections. What a time it is to be alive. In this great turning, may we indeed learn to lead with love and therefore change our world. Blessed be, amen, namaste, and may it be so.